Love it.
How about you try saying it?
You are now listening to Russ Reviews.
I gotta fuss this out a little bit, but the intro will be. Hey everyone, welcome to the Russ Reviews podcast, where we talk about something for an hour, 1 hour, no more, no less. This podcast is part of the Russ Reviews cinematic universe, where you can follow me on X and see my one sentence reviews of stuff. And this is the podcast where we will have 1 hour discussions on anything. So let's dive into episode 1 with my friend Mickey Mangan.
Hello. Love it. It's a great concept.
You do like it?
Yeah, very much. People love 1 minute things. People love one sentence things.
And people are going to love 1 hour things.
They're definitely going to love it.
Because as you may know, podcasts have gotten out of control where 3 hours is the new 30-minute. And you probably remember, Mickey. Well, let me just say this. I'm going to start the timer.
Yeah, great.
All right. So you probably remember, Mickey, when we were growing up in the internet age, there were a lot of rules around time. Like your YouTube video can't be longer than 3 minutes, else no one's
Yeah.
going to watch it. And now I feel like it's just like you do it as long as you want. No one cares anymore.
Yeah, how did that happen? It wasn't even a limitation of like people's attention spans. YouTube would actually stop videos from being more than 15 minutes at all. Like you couldn't actually upload a video longer than that.
Right.
So I think they solved all sorts of problems of like storage space, cloud storage.
Yeah.
There were some technical restrictions, and maybe they were just telling us what our appetite was based on their own technical restrictions.
That's probably true. It is funny though. I feel like attention spans have gotten crazy short or crazy long. There's like no movies are like either 3 hours or it's a 22-minute, episode that you just binge like 8 of them. But
Yeah.
we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me introduce everyone to you and why you're first. So this is the first episode of Russ Reviews, and the reason I wanted Mickey to be first was because for many years we often will just have random phone calls where we talk about movies we watched, and I've always been like, this would make a great podcast. So Mickey, I'm hoping you'll be a recurring guest. Let's not tell everyone what. Well, they'll see it in the title. We're gonna be so for number one. I wanted to do something kind of funny, and we can get into the backstory. But we're gonna talk about the worst movie we've ever seen together. But before that, let's tell everyone how we met and how we kind of our background with movies. I'm hoping you'll kind of be my movie guy. Uh, we'll have to
Love it.
come up. We'll have to come up with a nickname. I thought the brothers Saddest might be funny.
Oh, yeah.
The
Throwback
brothers Sadamov,
there. Cinematicist.
the
Cinematicist.
cinematikists, the globalists.
Cinemasochists. That's kind of perfect.
I like
We only
globalists.
watch things that torture us. The cinemasochists.
All right, Mickey, how do we meet?
We met several times before we really became steadfast friends.
Correct.
My first memory of meeting is vague from South Park Church when I was a kid going to like group events there with my friends who went to that church. But my first like memory was one of those events at a White Sox game, just thinking that you were a hilarious kid who for some reason didn't go to the same school as me.
I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna die when we fall off the bleachers at Comiskey."
It's so steep.
It was so steep.
Yeah.
I do remember seeing you there, and you were. I feel like we. It was one of those games where no one was there, where so just like a bunch of kids in the upper deck, and we would all just
Yeah.
kind of rotate around as we got bored with the game.
Yeah, I definitely applied to multiple credit cards during those years at Comiskey. And that night, I remember vividly was the night I got a free like bucket hat, like a
Oh, that's
olive
great.
green White Sox bucket hat with like a American Express logo on it.
So my first like vivid memory of you was at Kevin Boysen's birthday party,
Yes.
and Kevin had the game Mousetrap,
Hmm.
and it had every piece.
Every piece it's the only known copy with every piece with no piece missing,
Yeah,
as far as
which
I
if
know.
you're a '90s kid, you'll understand. Like no one ever had every piece of Mousetrap. So uh, Mickey, I'd never played it before with a full set, and Mickey helped set
Me
it
neither.
up. And
Me neither. And I had gone to multiple friends' houses who had it, and like, let's play Mousetrap, let's do it. And there's inevitably you get to some point where like the boot is missing or the weird little cage at the end is gone. But Kevin's like I that's probably why our meeting was so memorable, that it was like the one instance I ever actually played Mousetrap.
yeah, the other thing about Kevin that I adored was that he had all the Zords from Power Rangers, and I only had a Tommy where like his head flipped from helmet to no helmet, and Kevin had all the Zords, and I would just be like, "Dad, could I get some Zords, please?" But
Yeah, he had a lot of toys, and he like deserved it for how well he treated them.
he did. I think we stole three pieces from Mousetrap, right?
No.
No, I'm kidding. If you're listening to this, we are kidding. Uh, I've fallen out of touch with Kevin, but you still see him, right? Via chess?
Yeah, yeah. We have a chess game going right now. I haven't seen him in like a year now. I gotta reach out to him. Gotta play
What's
some
your
tennis.
next move? What's your next move gonna be?
That's on him. He's like lingering and hasn't moved in like a week, and so I might automatically forfeit, but he shouldn't because we're like really similar levels. But the last match I beat him in, and so I think he should be wanting revenge. But yeah, he's Kevin and I have always been like very like competitive with each other in whatever we're doing. Like we would play. We first like really became friends playing tennis, and we were always had this like rivalry. And then he got really serious about it, and he got better than I was, and or ping pong or Halo or whatever. It was just like a very
Yeah. You ruined tennis for me. I tried to get into tennis, and you probably don't remember this. I think it was in Cincinnati. You took me to play somewhere, and the way you could shape the arc of the ball just made me realize I'm never going to get good at this. So I quit that very day.
no. We played again a few years later, but you still had that mentality. I think
Yeah, you're very good. I was like, oh wow. Um,
I love it.
but anyway, okay. So then we didn't go to grade school, junior high, or high school together. But then we re-meet freshman year of college at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and I was just eating in the I think the Traley's dining hall,
No, it was Ogilvy.
Ogilvy, and
Wait, no,
then
they were the same dining hall. Yeah, they were right in the middle.
weren't they separate?
No, the same. I think it was one dining hall in the middle.
Okay, yeah, I was in the middle. You're right. And you walk up to me and go, "Hey, Russ, remember me?" And and it was ever since then it's been a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, you looked at me and were like, "Mousetrap." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right." No, I think I remember like working up the courage to talk to you because I was like I know him and I think he'll remember me. And I might have seen you once before at the dining hall. And but that night I think or that yeah, it was a dinner time and I think you were like by yourself. I was like, yes, now's my chance.
Yeah. And it's eerie because we've had very similar, even though we didn't go to high school together, we know a lot of the same people. We listen to a lot of the same music. We were both kind of part of that Q101, Smashing Pumpkins, Local H, Smoking Popes, like that kind of Chicago, the metro scene. We love a lot of the same bands. We don't love the same drum beats, but we like a lot, we like a lot of the same bands. And we both really like movies. And
Yeah.
that's always kind of been a staple of our friendship is talking about movies as they come out, going to movies. We had mutual friends in college, and we would often go see stuff together. Did we see The Dark Knight together, or were you out of the
No,
country?
I was out of the country. I saw it, I think, by myself when I got home from Jordan.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I remember.
remember.
My first movie memory with you was you loaned me the Godfather DVDs.
Oh, can I get those back?
You have them.
I have so many copies of The Godfather. It's embarrassing. Because inevitably I had to get on Blu-ray, and then Francis Ford Coppola re-released the third one to try to salvage it.
Mm.
I still
Had
haven't
to,
watched
had
that
to
one.
insert a digital Job of the Hut. Yeah.
Asabusa Sada Solo. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah,
The
we actually
little,
always
the
pictured
little
Vito Corleone as a giant slug.
Tom the consigliere is the little gremlin guy. Like,
Yeah, special edition.
all right, so let's tell people this little quirk we have with regards to movies because we've seen, I would say, a lot of good movies.
Yeah, each of us. And we've talked
How?
about a lot of good movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've had some legendary conversations, and I think we can tell people this just for accountability.
Mm.
We're starting Les Mis, the book.
Oh, you're in,
Oh, I'm all
dude.
in.
I had my doubts. I am so excited about this. Yeah.
I bought the brick. I got it. We're gonna finish this. It's a delight,
Mm-hmm.
and we're definitely gonna do. And we're reviewing this book. No
Mm-hmm.
cap, as the kids say.
Okay. Like
Um,
in 1 hour,
yeah, we'll talk about a.
1,300 pages.
It'll be fine. I mean, they made a movie out of it, so it can't be that
Yeah,
long.
it's true.
Uh, but yeah, we're gluttons for punishment. Um, okay, but here's what happens. Mickey and I, whenever we have the chance to see a movie together, what happens?
I mean, we pick a movie that we both want to see.
A movie that
That's
looks good.
yeah, a movie that looks good, that promises that's like up our alleys.
Yeah.
I think I can think of only one occasion where we picked a movie that it just was what was playing, but it had an awesome cast.
What was that?
That was Masterminds
Okay.
in Cincinnati. It wasn't a movie I was dying to see, but it was like it had Zach Galifianakis in it, and
Yeah,
honestly, I don't
that
even remember the rest of the cast, but I knew it was good.
Owen Wilson, I think, is in
Yeah.
it. But we'll Google it. But I remember that bridge walk to the movie theater. That was very nice.
Oh yeah. Beautiful. You can walk the walk to things you do in Cincinnati is always great.
We should do a Cincinnati episode.
Oh, amazing.
Russ reviews Cincinnati with the what's her name? The Cinemasochists.
The Cinemasochists. No, there's I know exactly the movie we should watch that probably won't be any good. There's a movie that was filmed in Cincinnati about like roller skating or something. That when I moved there, everyone was like, "Have you seen this yet?" Like, uh,
Blades of Fury.
no, Airborne,
Okay.
a 1993 adventure comedy. It has
Mm,
Jack Black in it.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
All right, so what ends up happening though is Mickey and I, whenever we see a movie together, we see a bad movie.
yeah.
And the first time I remember, so Mickey and I really like this place called the Pickwick in Park Ridge, which was featured in Chicago Fire. So it's
Oh yeah, I watched that episode and The Pickwick with my
everyone
dad.
knows the Pickwick now. So
It was terrible. Yeah,
what do they call it in the
I
show?
like
The Wick Pick?
the Wick pick. Yeah, which you know, Wick, it should be getting set on fire. Should no surprise there.
And the Pickwick is in Uptown Park Ridge?
Yeah,
I've never understood that, the difference between uptown and downtown.
yeah. Uptown. Well, I think it's an elevation thing. Pitt Park Ridge is called Park Ridge because it is the highest point in Cook County, and the Pickwick is at that point.
You're kidding.
No, I'm dead serious.
I don't believe
It has an elevation of like 4 feet.
that. Anyway, I remember going to see Benjamin Button with you and being so excited. Huge
Yeah.
David Fincher fan. And I was really trying to like the movie. I was like, this movie's awesome. I'm having such a good time. It's such a weird plot. And you were just next to me, and I could sense you like grinding not your teeth, but like internally you were grinding. And I was like, oh no, is this movie bad? No, it's a good movie. And then, this Brad Pitt ends up a baby. And the movie ends. Cute little Brad Pitt. And the lights come up, and you're like, I hated that movie. And I think we've since lived under the curse of Benjamin Button.
Yeah, that was the first one, but I don't think we saw that at the Pickwick. I think we watched that in Evanston. I think we saw that at the um
At the Cinemark.
yeah, at the yeah, that art theater there.
Oh, I love that art theater.
I remember talking to you outside the theater and like seeing the poster outside like the entrance and exit of the room. And they don't have that at the Pickwick.
So why did you hate it so much?
Well, I actually also was super excited about it. I wasn't specifically a big David Fincher fan at the time, but I it seemed like a cool story, and I read the story. I read the short story before seeing it, and yeah, it was just like an interesting like fantasy story. And as soon as the movie began, and we saw because the movie didn't just end with Brad Pitt as a baby; it began with Brad Pitt as a baby old man. In the book, it's like a way more magical thing. Like he just appears on Earth as an old man
Right.
and works his way backwards. So like that's a certain suspension of disbelief required to just be like accepting, oh, this guy's aging backwards, and it makes sense that he starts the shape and size of when he dies. But that choice that David Fincher made to have him born to a mother out of the womb as a 90-year-old man, I found it just disgusting, and it made no sense, and it was asking me to suspend way more disbelief than the original premise did.
Well, the
And so I
baby should have
was
been a like 175-pound adult for the premise to truly be accurate, right?
yeah, and it shouldn't have been born out of a woman. Like for some reason they insisted on inserting Benjamin Button in like normal biological reproduction, whereas the book was just like, what if there was a guy who aged backwards? And that's yeah, they had to like make it scientifically plausible in the movie or something. And so they had an uphill battle to fight for me. Like I was ready to love it. It started that way, and the rest of the movie just had to like make back had to make up for that original mistake in my mind. So I don't think it stood a chance after that
Well, I,
opening.
I would argue, Mickey, that maybe it was society demanding that scientific clarity, not, and Fincher felt pressured, to do that.
Yeah, I wonder what that's like. I mean, I can't imagine he didn't also think that was stupid. Yeah, it was probably some like producer requiring it. Like, I don't know, people aren't going to believe this guy was just spontaneously like there at
Oh,
the
so
start.
oh man, this got nominated for so many Academy Awards.
My
Holy
God.
cow.
And yeah, stuff like that only compounds my hatred of movies. Um,
Interesting.
But
Oh,
it's funny that you liked it because you went in there wanting to like it, and I guess you hadn't read the story. I don't think that. I think I would have hated it still
I
if I
don't
had.
honestly, I have no idea if I like that movie or not, and I haven't rewatched it. It's one of those things that's lingering. Like I need to rewatch that to see what I actually think because
Yeah,
you ruined the movie.
I don't mind ruining movies for people honestly because I think that I'm usually right about them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you ruined it, but you made it clear that if I liked it, there was going to be a problem. So
I think at that time I was more inclined to like hold people's bad opinions against them
yeah,
of movies.
you're a little more gracious now, but
I think
okay.
so.
So Benjamin Button stunk. Uh,
Yeah,
deleting
serious.
that one. I don't know when this happened in the timeline, and we need to debate this, but I'm convinced we saw The Room together.
Yeah, I don't think that I saw it with you, but
Oh, hi,
it
Mark.
yeah. I don't know when that came out. I feel like that came out our sophomore year, I think, or maybe our freshman year.
So I remember seeing it. It came out in 2003.
Whoa. So mid high school.
So we didn't see it when it first came out, but what I remember is that you took me to the music box for like a showing of it
Yeah.
because it was starting to go kind of. viral before viral was a thing.
But he wasn't there, was he?
He was not there. No, it was just like you know how they do like Rocky Horror? They
Yeah,
like
yeah,
show that
yeah. No,
every.
this sounds familiar. I think I did see it as a midnight movie at the Music Box.
You're like Russ. We got to see this movie together. It's the worst thing you've ever seen, but somehow it's the best thing you've ever seen. You know?
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to believe you.
And I was just like so baffled. Now, is that movie? If you don't know The Room, let me. Tommy Wiseau, this like very eccentric man. I don't know if you'd call him an actor, an artist. He like made this movie that he does everything, right?
Yeah, he got it completely off the ground. But it's not good, and it's agreed on that it's not good. I feel
But
like this
it
is sort of an outlier in our movies of like a movie that we didn't reasonably expect to like.
well, you wanted me to see it because it was so bad, but
Yeah.
somehow it's worth sharing, which
Hmm.
I love when movies are so bad they kind of get to that point in society where it's like this is so bad it's somehow good now.
Yeah, I think Madam Web hit that out of the park.
Well, let's hold off on Madam Web.
The
Let's not.
most recent one we watched.
That
Um,
one's coming up. But
yeah,
what?
one funny thing I realized, or you pointed out, oh no, you didn't point this out, but we realized this trend in our friendship pretty late into the game. Like, obviously, we didn't just see two bad movies and realize, oh, this is our thing. It was like it was like 15 years into knowing each other that we were like, wait a minute, have we ever seen a good movie together?
Well, and we should explain that we don't often have the chance to see movies. We have a long distance relationship, as they say.
It's true.
Mickey's has lived abroad for many years. I'm still in Urbana. Um, so when we do get to see a movie, it's like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we make a point to see a movie when we get together. So it's
And
like this.
we're trying to pick good movies, people.
Yeah, I mean, one of them is a Best Picture winner that you had on your list.
Which one's that? Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. Right. But so The Room, why do you think it had legs? Like, didn't James Franco and Seth Rogen like make a movie out of it, The Disaster Artist?
Yeah, The Disaster Artist, which I have not seen, but that's supposed to be an awesome movie.
Yeah, it was
Which,
good. I
which
enjoyed
is,
it.
it's cool how something can have like a redemption arc. Like if Disaster Artist is truly a good movie, then it's like so great that The Room was made.
Yeah.
Let
Like,
not even to mention the all the fun that people have had with seeing it sort of ironically.
right. Is that just like a millennial thing? We just loved irony so much that that was kind of the hallmark of our obsession with irony.
Maybe, but I feel like that's sort of current too to like Gen Z kids, like people who I was visiting a friend in California and he has a brother who's a lot younger than him, and he was talking about how like he was talking about something like trash Instagram or something. Like you got to watch this. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. You got to see it. So it's
Oh
definitely a
yeah.
thing
Or
to watch.
who's that guy? Shirley, something like that. Like he's that blonde guy with the mustache. And
Hmm.
he's like, "Send this to your bud, because he's your best bud." Hey, bud.
Yeah,
And he wears like a brown suit with a brown tie and a white shirt.
I don't know this guy.
You don't know him?
No, I don't. Send me something.
I'll send it to you on Instagram. Uh
And does that mean I'm your best bud?
like yeah, for those of you listening, leave a 5-star review and send us your favorite clip of I think his name's Shirley. I'll search it.
Early.
Um But because like the room reminds me of it has the same culture on it as Rocky Horror.
But
Uh,
Rocky Horror is like a much huger thing.
yeah.
It's a
What
second
are
thing.
other movies that have legs like that? Rocky Horror, The Room,
Leprechaun, I know people are into that,
Leprechaun,
especially around Thanksgiving. Say better say.
2001.
What? Well, 2001 is a good movie.
Well, no, those are all good. Well, I've never seen Leprechaun. Too scary. But I think Rocky Horror is a good movie too.
I actually have never seen it. I've just seen like I saw the Armory Free Theaters production of it live.
Oh, I had a friend that was the main character in that.
I gotta see that movie,
It's
but I gotta
good.
I gotta see it right. I gotta go to a midnight showing.
But I need you to explain to me why The Room has this cult following. What's your guess?
Dude, there's been like books about that I haven't read.
What would
But
you write?
I think I would write that um it's sort of a rags to riches story. Like it kind of scratches that itch that we all want to see. We're rooting for this underdog. And
Hmm.
like the director of that movie is just so unabashedly confident in making this thing happen. He's like actually convinced of his own genius. And that is fun to see just like fall apart. Like the fact that he never quit making this full length movie, and yet at no second of that movie is of any quality at all. Uh,
You know what I appreciate though?
huh.
It's short, which I think a lot of directors nowadays could benefit
Yeah,
from thinking through. Your movie does not have to be 3 hours.
yeah. It would be wonderful if Tommy Wiseau would get the chance to make his own cut of other good movies that are too long. See what he would
the
do.
the Tommy Wiseau edit of Brutalist,
Yeah, that's what I
intermission
want to
free.
see. Yeah,
Man,
too many rooms in this.
why do so many rooms?
One's enough.
Why is there water down here? It's kind of wet. All right. Okay, let's talk about Masterminds because this was probably the.
No, but are we going out of chronological order now?
I don't. I'm just going based off. Oh, you want to do Watchmen?
No, I think the big one is the one we saw
No, I
next.
want to save that. Let's save that
Okay.
till the end.
All
Do you have anything to say about Watchmen?
right. Not really. Just that, like, I think it got a little too much hate. I feel like it's a tough movie to make, and it was pretty cool looking. It's probably, I think it's better than a lot of. It's Zack Snyder. Snyder, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a lot of pressure on him. He's made a lot of worse stuff than that since, I think. Um,
I wanted to love that movie. I really
yeah.
went in trying to be like, this is the best superhero thing I've ever seen. But
Mhm.
it was just all the slow mo.
Mm,
I think the casting wasn't great.
yeah.
Rorschach was a good. They picked a good Rorschach.
Yeah. It's not that memorable a movie. Like I think it was trying to be super faithful and then just had to change the ending a lot.
They changed
Um,
the ending.
yeah, they didn't have a big alien land on the Earth. Oh, spoiler alert for those who haven't read Watchmen. Um, they
Yeah,
didn't do that.
save yourself some time. Just read the book.
Yeah, yeah, it's way better. But no, they had a different thing with Doctor Manhattan like causing the same effect.
Oh, I don't remember that. I remember them having the alien.
It's
Here's
kind of the
why.
only thing I remember.
Here's
Well,
why.
in it,
The
yeah, I
HBO
know that.
show like
Yeah.
healed it for me.
Yeah. HBO kind of started as if the movie had ended, true to the book.
Well, no, it started as if that movie had never existed. So it was
Yeah,
a sequel to a graphic novel, is how I
right.
understood it, which I
Yeah,
thought was like a super cool premise.
totally.
I
Yeah, what
told,
else has done that? There's other examples of that. I can't think of any.
can we give credit where credit's due? I think I told you to watch The Watchmen. Was that you?
With you?
No,
Oh,
no,
the
like
HBO
I was like, you need to watch the
Station 11.
The
Yeah.
HBO Watchmen. Stop. Um, all
Yes, you
right,
did. Yeah, I watched it because you recommended
yeah,
it.
this show is great. If you like Damon Lindelof stuff, it's peak
Oh
him.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about Masterminds though, because
Great game. Great board game.
this is the most disturbing one for me, I think,
Yeah.
because it was during a visit, so we were like hyped. We were
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. We were at a beautiful theater. Listen to this cast: Zach Galifianakis, Owen Wilson, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso himself. This movie has one of the best casts, I would say, of all time.
Yeah.
Those are some of the funniest people. They all are headliners in their own movies,
Hmm.
and it was so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. totally unmemorable. I could all I could think was like, this is how we're spending like the one evening we have. Like we had already seen the Cubs play the Reds, and that was fun. And I
Yeah, that
think we
was
walked
fun.
straight from the game
Yeah,
to the
something like
movie.
that. And
So it was,
I remember just like slowly sinking into my seat,
yeah.
being like, oh no. And I think it was in this theater where I went, why does this keep happening to us?
Yeah, yeah, that might have been the moment.
I was so sad. I was like, cause Zach Galifianakis is like, and Kristen Wiig are like two of my favorite comedians. And yeah, I'm like having to reread the Wikipedia page to remember the plot. It, I I don't remember any of this movie.
Yeah.
I think I must have disassociated.
So we watched that, and I ruined tennis for you in the same day.
Same trip.
Same
Yeah,
trip. Great, great trip. Great
great
trip.
trip. I also tried to start learning tennis in my, how old was I? Late
Jared,
20s.
Jared Hess, another reason to hope for the best. Director of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe that was why it didn't work, was because maybe he works better with independent actors.
I don't know. Maybe he just works better making Napoleon Dynamite.
Well, Nacho Libre was good.
I haven't seen that. I gotta see that.
Uh, and then Thelma the Unicorn, that was good.
Really? Okay. All right. I'll give it a shot.
It's a cartoon. And then
Mhm.
he's directing the Minecraft movie.
Oh, that's him.
Uh,
I
uh,
like that Jack Black has found his thing, being in every video game movie.
yeah,
That'll be fun.
I guess
That'll be fun.
that's what he's doing now.
Yeah.
I They released an action figure of the Jack Black from Minecraft,
Okay.
and I bought one for my friend because it's the stupidest toy I've ever seen. But we're big Tenacious D fans, so I had to get
Does
him
it
one of
look like
those.
Jack Black, or is it like a Minecraft version of Jack Black?
No, no, it's just like they scanned him
Just a
and
guy.
just a
Okay.
guy with a big old belly.
That's awesome.
All right, let's keep going. Masterminds. I don't have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
All right, this one kind of took me for a surprise because we read The Grapes of Wrath, which was a phenomenal book, haunting. One of the craziest endings of any book I've read. And we start the movie at my house, and we look at each other and we go, "We got to stop this."
Yeah, I think we gave it like 20 minutes.
I don't think it was because it was a bad movie though.
Right.
I
It
think it
was
was
a
just
bad use
because
of our time.
we weren't in a good headspace to watch something so.
No, but I had come to visit you expressly for the purpose of watching that movie together, because we have our our on again off again book club, and when we read Grapes of Wrath, like it, I think it blew both of our minds, and we made a commitment to one day watch the Best Picture winning Gregory Peck vehicle, Grapes of
Yeah,
Wrath.
I checked it out from the library. We were because it was very hard to find on streaming. Um,
But we hadn't seen each other in like 2 years. I think it was my first time seeing you since COVID. I had been in Germany, but I took the Amtrak down being like, Grapes of Wrath, let's do it.
do you remember what we switched to?
Yeah, I do, and I still haven't finished watching it. Super Troopers. That movie was great.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that must be the biggest swing in energies ever.
Farva, just get a large cola. I don't want a large Farva. I want a liter of cola. Just
Yeah.
get a large Farva. Oh man, that movie has Brian
Was
Cox in
it
it.
Tom Jones that said that? I don't remember.
Stop. Brian Cox is in Super Troopers. He's
Yeah.
the chief. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But we can't we still can't count this as a good movie we watched together, because you went to bed or you fell asleep after like half an hour,
Right.
and I shut it off after a while.
Well, let's talk about
So
the movies I fell asleep during recently. because this has been a new thing in my older age. So yeah, Grapes of Wrath probably is a good movie. We'll never know. Um,
Yeah,
leave a
but it
five
was like a
star,
movie for that night.
put a 5 star review and tell us if Grapes of Wrath is a good movie in the comments. Thanks. Okay, Jackie Brown.
Mm,
I fell fast asleep before Act One
yeah,
ended,
it was your idea. You were like, I'm watching all the Quentin Tarantino movies.
which I am. I just
I was
finished.
like, I've never seen Jackie Brown. Let's watch that one together. Let's break our curse.
Yeah, I thought Jackie Brown was fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So I think the reason I fell asleep was to preserve our run of only seeing bad movies. And this happened again not too shortly after, which we can tell people about.
Yeah, it seems the universe is out to keep our streak going.
Yeah. But what was cool about Jackie Brown was Quentin Tarantino is, notoriously I would say like a maximalist with his
Mhm.
his soundtracks, with his violence, with his um bombastic monologues and theatrics. And this movie was just so measured. Um it confused me that this was what he made after Pulp Fiction because it was just so like fairly linear, fairly simple, pretty romantic. Um, I don't feel like he's made many. I would call this his one romance out of
Yeah,
his 9 movies.
yeah, very restrained. I would say it's the only movie. Maybe you could call The Hateful Eight a little restrained, but it's restrained in a sense of we need to watch this explode
Yeah,
the whole time.
that was more of a slow burn.
Yeah, and this was actually kind of a relaxing movie.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when Jackie puts on the record when she's hanging out with the bail officer.
Yeah,
That whole scene was just so. Yeah, that's a perfect word, relaxing. And the music she found was relaxing. The drinks, the ambiance, and just like I thought it was a pretty sweet movie. Like it was an interesting way to do a romance
yeah,
that doesn't culminate in like this big relationship. It ends like most uh, things like that do. I
yeah.
never
Just
thought of that
capturing
though.
a really beautiful moment, and it kind of doesn't really matter what happens before or after.
Yeah, I guess this would be the romance in his because he tries to make. It seems like he's trying to do each genre. Like he has
Yeah,
a samurai movie, he has a war movie, he has
Western.
western. I guess Jackie Brown would be the romance.
Yeah, yeah. Good point. I never thought about that.
Huh. See, that's why
True,
it's good.
not true romance.
No,
He didn't direct that.
no,
But
but
the one thing about Jackie Brown that I didn't like was Robert De Niro. I felt like he
yeah,
was a little unconvincing as just like a dumb guy. And
his,
then
his
he,
character didn't seem like he wanted to be there, and the man himself seemed like he did not want to be part of that movie. You know?
yeah, yeah, it didn't really work for me. Some of the stuff he did was funny, but I was really surprised after being disappointed by him. A few weeks later, I think I watched The King of Comedy for the first time, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh wait, he can be like off,
Bombastic.
yeah, cast against his type and work perfectly. It
Yeah.
just wasn't quite as good. And
Who would have been better? I was thinking Harvey Keitel, but that he might
yeah,
have
I don't
been too
know.
old.
Yeah, I think it didn't. I think it was also just distracting how famous he was. I think anyone who I didn't recognize as easily probably would have worked.
Yeah. Someone maybe a little bit younger too might have helped.
Yeah.
I have this picture of Jared Hess now up on my desktop and it's very distracting. I'm gonna close it a little bit. Anything else on Jackie?
No, awesome movie.
Awesome movie
So we
doesn't
can watch it
doesn't
together.
make the list. Another
No.
movie I fell asleep during, which was bad. Uh, no, let's do this one last. Twit. We did see Twisters together, but I fell asleep during that one.
Yeah.
I liked it. You didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it. I thought it was so bad.
What? Why?
Uh,
It was just fun. It's just like a fun movie.
yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not something I will defend or try and convince someone not to like, but Twister one, I think is amazing. I just have a lot of nostalgia for it, and it if I could see them trying to make it that fun again, and it felt like a movie that just showed its effort, and it wasn't it didn't move as fast for me, or it didn't move quickly enough, I don't think. And I don't think there was a new story to really tell.
Yeah, and the I did like the villain though. I thought it was an interesting villain. The developers like
Oh, I
working
thought you meant the
for.
tornado. Just that look on its face.
Well, no, nature's just trying to do its pruning.
Yeah.
Civilization's the one getting in the way of nature doing its work. But
Yeah, no, you know what? It did have an interesting redemption of like the cocky guy who was like the main character, I guess.
yeah,
He seemed like a bad dude at first, and then it was an interesting storyline now that I think about it.
yeah, the romance part of it. Hold on, August is here.
Oh, good.
Come on in.
Did you pause it?
No, this is just going to be part of it.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Do you want the eggs with us?
Can you guys wait?
Well, I wanted to do them
Okay, you guys go ahead.
by, your, by yourself.
Okay. Can you close the door? Say bye, Mickey.
Bye, Vicky.
Bye. I didn't tell if he could see me or not. I was waving the whole time, and he just kind of was like looking at me blankly. He was on a mission.
Oh man, that's funny. All right. So Twisters, I liked, you didn't like. Hotel Transylvania 3,
Mhm.
I liked, you didn't like. But you didn't.
Can I?
You don't know the lore. You're not a
No, I
fan of
don't.
the franchise.
That's right. Can I take this opportunity to tell one of my favorite stories about August?
Yeah.
On the way to Hotel Transylvania 3, we went to like a 11:30 a.m. showing for the Free Kids movie at Savoy.
Free kids matinee. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was explained to me beforehand that at that time, every Tuesday there's two different kids movies, one for little kids and one for big kids. And I when I first came to visit, like the day before, I saw August and I picked him up, and he told me in no uncertain terms that he's a big kid. And I remembered this when the next day when we were on our way to the movie, I said to August, or I said to Russ out loud so that August could hear me, "We're going to the big kids movie, right? Because August is a big kid." And August turned to me and said, "Wait, guys, I was just joking. I am not big. So we're going to the little kids movie."
Yeah, it was like his first. It was like his first moment of understanding irony or making a joke.
Right? Because you had said like the big kids movie can be sometimes too scary for
Yeah,
him. And
I think he was worried.
yeah, I was just joking.
Yeah, and how slow he said it too was
Yeah.
like, this is something humans say that I am
Yeah.
going to say now.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that's the trip about parenting is your kids just make these leaps in becoming more human-like. And that was one of those leaps where I was like, oh, I think we went to Burger King after that too. That was
Yeah,
great.
we did. Yeah.
So Hotel Transylvania 3 will all right, what so we did see a great movie, A Real Pain.
Hmm.
However, the universe again coming to the rescue. Our mutual friend Isaac joined us.
Yeah,
So
last minute.
last minute,
It felt like the universe coming to the rescue too, because Isaac wasn't gonna go, but then like 10 minutes, maybe an hour before, we texted him and he was like, "Yeah, I'll be there,"
yeah,
which
he
we
just showed
wouldn't have
up,
really expected.
and it
And
was a
then,
great
yeah.
movie.
Oh man, it was one of my favorites of the year for sure.
I'm actually bummed that it didn't win best screenplay because it was so well written,
Yeah, I agree. Everything about it was great.
and what it lost to, ugh, disappointing. But all right, let's do Madam Web. This was another one that we were both like pretty pumped to see.
I no, I would say I was a little bit more aware of its notoriety than you were.
But we both thought it would be good because of how great she was in Suspiria.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So how bad?
what went wrong with this movie?
Oh, I think books have been written about this. It seemed like oh shoot, there was one critical element that someone pointed out that I thought was I remember that the idea that Peter Parker creates his own Spider-Man suit
Hmm.
and him designing it is a big element, like what it looks like. And yet, Madam Web, which is a prequel to Peter Parker's existence, features a villain who looks just like a bad Spider-Man. And so it's like it just breaks its own rules. Like it wants to be this contribution to the Spider-Man universe, and yet like it's telling us to ignore the details about what's
Hmm.
already been established. That's just a
Yeah.
way to get people out of it. And that's not to say nothing of just like kind of the crumminess of how it was edited.
Yeah, weird editing, weird cinematography. It felt it did a lot of like weird stuff with the dollies and like that was like dreamy kind of wobble wobble.
Yeah.
Uh, and I just
Yeah, it was
thought
yeah,
it
yeah, it was moving. The camera wouldn't stop moving.
yeah, never a still shot. It was always slightly and not handheld, but like steady
Yeah.
cam kind of.
Yeah.
But I think too, like the trailer hyped up this supporting cast,
Mhm.
and they're not really that big of a deal in the movie. What you see in the trailer is like what you see of their costumes the whole movie.
Yeah,
And I thought that part was just a little bit like bait and switchy for me.
totally. I love what was that big ad at the end of it? They go to like a fireworks warehouse and there's a giant like drink Pepsi ad on the
Yeah.
roof.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
I had a Pepsi because of that. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah, no, it's a bummer because I do think Dakota, what's her last name? Dakota
Fanning.
Fanning. I think she's great. She's a great actor.
Yeah.
Underrated. And I thought she did her best. I felt like
Yeah.
she was the one redeeming part of that movie. But like Sydney Sweeney, oh gosh, blew it. The other
Wasn't
support,
Adam Scott in it too?
yes, yeah.
That's amazing.
But I wish she would have been. I always imagine Madam Web as an old lady because of
Yeah.
the Spider-Man cartoon. So
Right.
it was a bit of an adjustment to think of her as a young person. Um,
Well, I'm hoping that in 40 years they make a Madam Web 2 and she'll be appropriately cast for you.
mm. Now that was a bad movie I fell asleep during, so I don't know if that fits in the genre, but
Maybe not. I think the main culprits are the ones that we like got hyped up to go see in the movie theater.
yeah.
And the fact remains that you and I have never been to a movie in the theater together, alone, just you and I, and it was any good.
Right. All right, we're saving the worst for last. Most people
No,
save the best for last.
not me.
Not me. All right. Um, this was the angriest I've ever been in a movie.
Same.
And I'm a little disappointed because other people think this now, and I always thought this was my novel complaint, but I've seen people complaining about this now on Instagram. The movie is by John Lasseter, Toy Story legend, helped
Genius.
created
Genius.
Pixar. The movie's Cars.
Yeah.
I hate this movie. And can I give, I know you know why, but let's just pretend like
Yeah.
you don't know why.
Sure.
All right. Let me pull up so we again, this was when
The
we saw
listeners don't know why.
this is
The
when we saw
listeners are all wondering to themselves, this is a gigantic franchise where all the kids in my school's class, the kids in my kids' class are wearing clothes from it, and everyone loves it. So tell us, Russ, why do
I
you?
have a 4-year-old. I own a Lightning McQueen backpack. I've bought toys. I've watched every Cars movie now. I've swam in the Cars pool at Disney World with the Cozy Cubs. All right, let me just list out the movies before Cars. Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. That's a crazy run of
Yeah,
movies.
it had to have.
Lasseter was, involved in all of that. Oh, Randy Newman composed soundtracks for all those except for Finding Nemo and Incredibles. Anyway, and then the Cars comes out, and what I thought was cool about Toy Story, and every movie between that and Cars was that all those movies could have existed within the same cinematic universe, right? And they kind
Hmm.
of reference each other. Like Toy Story could actually happen. We don't know. We don't know if toys come to life.
Hmm.
Bugs Life. That could actually happen. We don't know if bugs can talk and we just don't understand them. Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, they all have human characters that kind of root it. Incredibles bends the rules a little bit, but I would argue it was a show possibly that Andy could have watched,
Mm.
at home as he was recovering from his parents' divorce that they never really dig into.
Well, that's
Um,
interesting. It's all just a fantasy of Andy's. This is
yeah,
a family that sticks together.
yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Um, so I'm sitting there watching Cars, and the thing that really set me over the edge was how nicely he was able to pave that road. I was like, there's no way a car could do that kind of detail work with no hands, you know? Who invented the cars? What do they worship? How do they procreate? Who, what's their mythology? Why can they talk? What happens when they run out of gas? How did they refine gas? What are the implications on the earth for, global warming? Why are the bugs cars? Why are the cows also vehicles? Do they take trains and airplanes? Does a car go inside an airplane to travel cross country? And then Cars 2 makes it even worse.
Really, I've never seen my knowledge ends with Cars 1.
Horrible. Horrible. It's like a bad James Bond movie.
Mm.
Um, when that movie ended, I looked at you and I said, Mickey, I hated that movie.
Yeah.
That I almost walked out, but I didn't. And I was just so frustrated because I felt like it had this like country music soundtrack. It was like Big and Rich and all these guys, and like I just felt disrespected as a film lover.
Yeah, I think that's it. It was a truly offensive movie. It made us just it made me question my own respect for Pixar up
Yeah.
until that point. Like I went into that movie thinking of myself as I was a little old, but as the target audience, as a person who grew up loving Thomas the Tank Engine. Like I'm into talking vehicles. Like sold. And as a person who loved every single Pixar movie until then, I thought there was a really good chance that this would work for me. I kind of knew that it was going to be a little weird, but I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. And yeah, it's basically like everything you described. How
Thomas
what
the
world are they asking us to buy?
Thomas the Tank Engine
Hmm.
lived in reality though because of Mr. Conductor and the other little humans
Hmm.
around there. It was like anchored to a reality.
Yeah, yeah, they were serving humans. They were just sort of a magically endowed uh, fleet of locomotives
I think
on
some of it is the absence of what's this called? An opposable thumb.
yeah,
Out of all the Pixar movies, there were no humans. Or that
yeah,
that was the first one to not have a human. It wasn't tied to Earth in some kind of like surrealistic way. It was just like completely detached from any sense of
yeah,
reality.
yeah. It
But
was
then
just
it
cheap.
it pops back, Ratatouille, Wally, up, kind of gets back on track.
Yeah,
But so I was just kind of bothered by the disrespect I felt. But here's also what happened. Um, Cars comes out in 2006. that was also the year that Disney bought Pixar.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know development happens many years. Like I don't know how much of an impact Disney might have had, but I know Disney was distributing at that point. But I just felt like as a how old was I? As a 19-year-old, I was like, oh, Disney is going to ruin Pixar now. They're going to make it this special thing that Steve Jobs helped create, and they're going to turn it into drivel.
Yeah.
So,
And that is what happened. They immediately bought a Cars 2, and I yeah, the one thing that I realized today in reflecting on Cars before this conversation was how one thing that people talk about is how like Pixar is terribly sad. Like so many of these movies involve a dead mom or a dead wife, and this is the only movie that involves like the total annihilation of a species from the face of the earth. Like the only way to accept Cars as a premise is that humans did once exist and they no longer exist.
okay, I love
And
it. I love this theory actually.
yeah,
So like I said, I have a kid, and he's kind of softened me a little bit to Cars. So I've seen a lot more Cars content,
yeah,
um, and I've spent money on merch. Um, okay, so here's where Cars can work for me.
hmm,
Cars takes place in that window of time of Wall-E,
mm,
where the humans have left
hmm,
because they can't breathe the air. But if you're a car,
yeah.
doesn't matter if it's bad air quality, right?
That's right. Yeah, you're a sentient car. Like we, as is happening in our reality, cars are being given AI uh, drivers or assistants, and so it's just a matter of putting visual. So actually, cars now do have visual sensors where their headlights are.
Right.
Maybe it is just these are all AI cars that have developed personalities of their most recent driver, and all the it's way in the future though of Wally. It's in the period of time, the distant future after all the Wallies have finished their job of moving the garbage around.
Right.
They've exposed the surface of the earth as it was left, which I mean, but even this won't work because the whole premise of Cars was the construction of the expressway system, making Route 66 and all its businesses obsolete.
Stop it. It works.
It doesn't work. Which that was my main complaint. Like, wait, we're supposed to believe that cars care about small business? That's the message. These cars are telling me that expressways, which were made for them to be able to be maintained more easily,
Well, and it's
are
just funny from
cars
like
don't like.
a fossil fuels thing. Like even in 2006, people were like, "Hey, we probably should have renewable energy, don't you think?" And there's like, "No, let's have a
Yeah.
universe full of cars
Yeah, we better get ahead of this. Let's create a generation of children who love cars.
who love combustion engines."
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that was the whole issue
It
with
worked.
Cars 2. It was about electric. The whole premise is that the bad guys trying to suppress electric
Are you
vehicles.
serious?
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Um,
but I recently had my hatred of Cars 2 revitalized because I showed my nephew um, a photo of the Leaning Tower in Niles, the
uh-huh.
replica. I had just taken a picture of it, and I was like, "Look at this, John." And he was like, "I know that." And I was like, "Oh, have you gone to that?" And he was like, "I know that from Lightning McQueen." And I just looked at his mom, and she was like, "Nah." They know I hate cars.
How
They know
dare
no,
you?
no nephew of mine knows who Lightning McQueen is.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, you're right. It wouldn't work. Because what I was gonna say, what would be cool is if, so at the end of Wall-E, when the humans return to Earth to like restart, what if they
Mhm.
had to go to war and colonize the cars?
Oh yeah.
And they had to like take over the car society, and it would be like a cool geopolitical like Planet of the Apes type deal.
Oh man, I love this.
Cars versus the humans, led by Andy's great 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 grandson, Andy the 18th.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They find a planet like yeah, no, they know it's time to return to Earth. Sort of like in Seven Eves. They just knew like generation after generation had to survive in space, and then eventually the habitat would recover. But now it's populated by who knows what the cars are even like because they've also evolved over millennia.
I think that'd be pretty sick.
I kind
Man,
of love it
man
actually.
versus machine.
Maybe this is the long game that John Lasseter was playing.
Yeah, and he just never got to see it come to fruition because I he had to he was asked to leave the company.
Oh, he
So
was. I thought you were going to say he was assassinated by a fellow Cars hater.
no, no, I think he I don't know all the details, but I think he was problematic in some ways. But
Hmm.
oh man, so yeah.
That sucks. I didn't know that.
No, I mean you can Google it. I'm not sure, but Toy Story, man, the best,
Yeah,
the
you know,
best.
the best.
All
Yeah.
right, I'm just looking at the time. We're doing great. So, any last words on Cars?
Well, it was at the Pickwick. You didn't mention that. I think that was actually the first movie you and I saw together at the Pickwick. It was like a matinee showing,
Yeah,
and we were there weren't many people there.
yeah,
I
because that would
remember
have been the summer of our sophomore year,
yeah, yeah. How many other
or no,
19-year-old
freshman year.
dudes are spending their day watching Cars? We gave it a chance. We really did. Yeah.
Can you hear that?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Do you
You
recognize
probably
it?
were listening to this on the way to the. Yeah,
Well, that sound from Badly Drawn Boy means,
that's a good outro song, actually.
yeah, I don't have the rights to it.
Oh dang,
Mickey, we hit an hour. That was
perfect.
incredible timing. I am
Cut it.
shook.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right,
Honored to be your first guest, Russ. Can't wait
thanks,
to come back.
man. Here's so many more bad movies in our future. So.
Yeah, who knows what the future holds?
But like the book we're reading, we're just a couple of miserables. So.
That's right. Wretcheds. That's how it's translated in English. The wretched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been deep diving translation theory on Les Mis, and
Really?
I've looked at like 8 different translations.
There's
So
strong opinion.
my audiobook's a different translation than the book I'm reading. It's
Oh, interesting.
very fun to do it this way. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's episode 1. Thanks everyone for listening. We will be back with episode 2. I'm not sure who the guest will be or what we will review, but when we do review it, it will be for 1 hour. You can count on that. Mickey, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys next
See
episode.
you later.
Bye.